Hi, friends in conflict. I am really excited today to introduce you to my friend Marco Cabrera. I'll let him do an introduction of his own, but we are going to talk briefly about some principles that he has been able to apply to help him personally and professionally manage conflicts. So, Marco, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us what you'd like to share about your role and what your background has been, and tell us about
Great.
yourself.
Hi, I'm Marco Cabrera. I've been a programmer in that field for a little over 24 years now. I'm currently a principal software engineer for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, leaning a little bit towards management. And one of the things I've really been doing a lot with is interacting with people. There's always room for conflict management. That's me.
Indeed. Thank you. Now, Marco and I worked together, and I was always impressed with his demeanor and his presence and the way that he responded to challenges. So I reached out to him and thought I'd love to get some insight from him about what has led him to develop that type of presence and responsiveness to conflict. So, Marco, one of the things we talked about offline was some martial arts training. So, tell us a little bit about what the martial arts modality is that you're part of, and excuse me for my ignorance when it comes to the right terminology. And then tell us how that has influenced and impacted the way that you manage conflict.
Absolutely. So I will try to not be a little too long-winded here. I get very excited talking about this martial art. I've actually trained in a martial art since I was 7 years old. But in 2008, I got a call from my brother who had moved to Seattle for college and said, "Hey, I found this art. You need to come see this." So I flew out to Seattle and I learned about a martial art called Nami Ryu, which is actually part of a samurai family style called Ryu. It was shaped after that and included some other pieces. So many of the things that we're learning really were learned by a samurai family, which is really cool. Um, One of the things I find fascinating about this art is that it is a principle-based art. There are three principles we follow in everything we do. And even when you have a question in a specific movement, you can lean back on those principles. And to your question, those principles are what I've been applying to interacting with people to prevent or limit conflict as it comes up. The first principle is do not contest with vectors of force. Directly in the martial art, this is saying, I don't want to block. If I block, I'm actually telling you that I've stopped something and it gives you a chance to start over again. What I would rather do is let you past me and then negotiate what opportunities I have. This is directly applicable to interactions with people that are not violent, or at least physically, visibly violent. If someone approached you on the street screaming, you have a couple of opportunities. The way I might have responded prior to all of this training would be, I have to be strong. I have to have everyone know that I'm strong. So I'm going to puff up my chest and I'm going to scream back. That actually amplifies conflict. So if I had the ability to just listen for a second, be present, and say, wow, you're having a rough day. Is there any way I can support you? It disarms the conflict, or at least changes it in quite a ways. So never contest with vectors of force, never contest for space. We don't fight. So, second principle is align from behind. This has a physical aspect to it, not super relevant right here, but the other meaning of align from behind is directly applicable to conflict. If someone is standing there very angry, if I'm standing directly in front of you and I simply calmly step off to the left, I've done a couple of different things. One, I've made sure that you know that I have no intention of conflicting with you. I am just not participating in an argument, which allows people to start calming down. And secondly, by stepping slightly off center of that conflict, I have actually given myself an advantage if there were a strike coming in, which people often associate with their right arm. Most people are right-handed. It actually allows me to have a position where I am at their back. So not only does it tell you that I'm stepping offline and I'm safe, but it's also in a subtle way kind of identifying I'm not stepping back though. So it allows you to have a little bit of firmness while being gentle. And the third principle is to keep moving. If nothing else, when you're able to remain calm in your body and move slowly, consistently, it lulls people into more a calmer state. Many of these things I've used in conflict at work. I've been training for so long, though. Most of the really bold, here's a great example, are not in my fresh memory. But the way it kind of plays out now is people seem to feel safe with me. They feel safe communicating openly. I try my best to nurture that. Being able to be authentic and stand in front of them and say, hey, I can hear you, and this is a safe space. If people can believe you, it's amazing how many conflicts are prevented.
I really appreciate that you have been able not only to articulate these principles, but you have been able to apply those so effectively. This is a set of principles that I think applies to any current or prospective leader in the context of dealing with difficult persons or difficult situations, and to apply those principles. So I'm excited to try those myself. I wish that I had the training that you do in the martial arts, but I don't, so mine is all verbal.
Well, when you get here, you are always welcome.
May take you up on that. This martial arts that you've been trained in, you recently received another rank in. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm very, very honored. Like I said, I've been training since roughly 2008, 2009, whenever I could first make it out. And in the past 3 years, we opened a dojo in my local city, and I was awarded with my black belt certificate, which is it's called shodan. It's first dan, and I'm really, really pleased. It's been a long goal. I'm proud of myself, and I'm just really happy about it. So
Well,
yeah,
congratulations to you for that. Very
thank you.
excited to see how you continue to apply those principles.